Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II World at War with our Axis playthrough. In the last episode, we've moved on to August 28th, 1942. Did some starter moves over here with Japan, wiping out 2 enemy corps on and next to Lanchao. The speed makes me kind of wish that I had also approached from this direction, but at the end of the day, I really don't know how we would have maintained supply over here. Either way, we are branching out to the north, finding more Chinese to hurt. But the focus of this episode will of course be on Germany, which is currently the most important front for winning this campaign. As my first move today, I'm gonna take the 30th Corps here. We're gonna move down to the side of the river here to go check, and we'll find, oh my, the only thing sitting on the final remaining, no, not final, but the second, I forgot about Perm. Next capital, Kubyshev, is a garrison. Now, a lot of things have retreated from the fronts out here, so that means there is still, of course, more. We got tanks, we got things that were running away, operating, but Kubyshev itself is barely defended. Unfortunately, nothing can get out that far right now, and nothing can bomb that far that I have lined up, but we can easily start moving in that direction. And I wonder, if we keep advancing down this way, we could also potentially just cut off Kazan as well and have an approach that leads me to each of these locations. And this is so industrial. There's so many mines. This is the Urals. This must be the Urals, where they moved their infrastructure out of Ukraine. And with all this stuff here, that's many sources of supply. It's many hard things to defend, and I doubt that they have the troops there to defend it all and stop me from advancing if I can break through fast enough. We're gonna move the 5th Corps forward. This serves to advance our line towards, I can't say that, and also allowing us to see generally what's around here. And as it would happen, there's not a lot around here. We will definitely scout out down this way, push up to this river as well. And we see there's nothing on Kazan here, so that means this is essentially open and free to take if we could reach it. But of course, that's the key, isn't it? We can't reach it yet. Now, this turn's not actually going to be very exciting on this front. It's mostly going to be moving and building up for an upcoming final battle if the Soviets will give us that. So we're going to focus heavily on, say, reinforcing the 3rd Army, reinforcing the 1st Army, we cannot give elite reinforcements to this corps. Okay, that's fair. Reinforcing these paratroopers, we will take the recon, and we're gonna actually just move it up here now. Oh my god, well, I found all the stuff that was running away. We got an HQ, TAC bombers, fighters. I was wondering where their fighters were. We have anti-air here next to their heavy tanks. I guess they think that we're going to try pushing into Gorky, but that's not really my plan, because I don't have to go through Gorky to get to Kubyshev, certainly not to get to Perm, and the paths leading there are pretty cut off. Unfortunately, what that means is they already have a probably decent amount of stuff past the rail line here. As you might remember, I wanted to move up and take Volgogda because it would cut off any rail line leading east, kind of trapping anything over in this region to essentially not being my problem. We'll take the 3rd anti-tank, put it on this town, leave it here as a defender. It can afford to do that. This is where it actually becomes a little annoying that von Bach doesn't have his upgrades in mobilization. The hell's it called again? I forget. Mobility. We take von Lieb. We're gonna move him as far as he can get right now down the road, which is almost to this little village. That will have a boosting supply effect out here, but that's not worth very much. Thankfully, von Bach can at least get right here, which will allow me to further boost supply. Yeah, vastly improving it out there. Now, I wish someone had the capability to get right here. I wish so much that somebody did, because this is boosting supply in a pretty important way, so I don't want to move it yet. Well, important way, I say. This place only has 3 supply at the moment. Getting something on Moscow, having it build up, might actually be more valuable in the long run. Where is supply here coming from? Is it coming from being boosted? If this is 8, 7, 6, 5, 6. it wouldn't actually change that much, the way I'm looking at it. All right, so fine. We're going to go and we're going to move Von Kukler up north because someone needs to end up operating out of around Kazan up there. So we're going to move him up there. What does that do to supply? So of course, yeah, it's only down 1 as I predicted. It's going to be a little bit higher up here. Not very important for this turn, but particularly important for upcoming turns. For now, the 4th Panzer tanks will move just down the road this far. I don't know if they'll be going any further, to be honest. We are going to want to move a lot of this air stuff forward where it can do something. There's some bombing we can do with the TAC bombers, so I'm not quite sure what's going where. We already have so many fighters down here. These two are not actually in range of anything to bomb, so they can move. They can also get elite reinforcements that could give them an edge in any upcoming bombing campaigns in this final battle. We certainly have the points put into it. It's more a matter of the time, I suppose. But this one and this one can engage in bombing. However, it's against targets that I don't even plan on going up against right now. So I'm going to say that's probably not a priority, is what I'm going to probably say. So we're going to move the TAC bombers kind of as far as I can get them that is safe. So this one's going to go right there. This one, I don't even want to put it in the road, but we're going to put it in the road. These ones are going to go ahead and just get the elite reinforcements because I want them to be as powerful as possible to knock over the weakened Soviet troops upcoming. The 3rd Panzer tanks are going to move down to Rise, and they're just going to sit there for right now. They're probably going to move again. One thing I'll actually do is I'm going to move the 2nd anti-tank up. It's going to swap out with the Africa anti-tank because this one has free mobility, and mobility is expensive and requires standing still. There's many other things. We're going to reinforce this core. This core literally came here specifically to reinforce, so we can do that. The fighters won't really need to move up from here. They're not in the best supplied locations, which could be improved upon, but anywhere else would potentially be more dangerous. Right now, it doesn't really matter because they're at full health and just full everything that they can be right now. Rommel's going to move into Moscow, as I pretty much planned. Moscow will get more and more supplies, so it will just kind of improve and improve. I still probably will go for cutting off up here. Probably, I imagine. This guy isn't going anywhere anytime soon, but I might just have him upgrade with mobility so that he can operate pretty interoperably with this recon for cutting off or doing any quick strikes, this core, even if he can't get any elite reinforcements or anything. As for this one, I simultaneously, I want to put in prepare, but I also want to give elite reinforcements. I don't think you could do both of those at once. We'll just put it in prepare for right now, and yeah, that does everything. There was only really one that we could do, so I'll opt for putting it in prepare so that it can fly out somewhere important sooner rather than later. Now, if we look at the parts map, we'll see we are starting to abandon some points that will require garrisons, so the flood of garrisons will be needed very soon. So I can take these from a lot of places. I have already pre-placed a bunch that don't necessarily need to be placed. So that's what we're going to start pulling from. For example, this one over here at Bremen. We're going to send that over. Can't quite get up there. Supply here must not be good enough yet, but getting to right there is a good enough alternative. And in fact, I already have a garrison up here, so it's clearly here for something. But let's look at another garrison we might send, like from Warsaw. And, okay, we'll send that one to Tula, because Tula will need its own garrison, pretty much dedicated. None of these positions are really threatened, or particularly needing anybody on them right now, so we're gonna send this one. Oh man, the movement here sucks. It really, really does. Dang. Oh yeah, there's also no rail here. That's why you can't get any farther. We'll just move this up as far as it can get, maybe up here. No, you know what? This one can reach right here. We'll send it right there. That will take care of Moscow and that spot next to Moscow. Tula is taken care of. Everything else is kind of in a movement path right now, so I don't want to necessarily put anything else in its way. We'll go ahead and reinforce the Africa Corps tanks. It's pretty injured. This one, I was saying I was going to move it again, but I was thinking here, but I'll probably just leave the fighters there, because, I mean, well, what's supply going to be like here? It's gonna be the same, actually. Okay. We'll move that one forward. Send the tank forward so it's in a more advantageous position. That seems smart to me. If I move this up ahead, it's not gonna be able to really do anything else from there, unfortunately. But I still am gonna move it ahead. I'm not sure to exactly where. This place is very interestingly placed on the rail line. It does connect, just from an interesting direction. The direction doesn't necessarily matter. But we'll send it ahead because we know it's clear enough. And I don't want to leave this being too clogged up by reinforcing and upgrading units. It already is a little bit like that. And look at this one, like isn't even on a road. It's going to have a hard time getting anywhere because it doesn't have mobility. Huh. That'll be a problem. We have a tank right here. I think I'm going to send this one just right through here. So we claim Vladimir for ourselves. However, we're not going to push up through Vladimir or anything. I am so tempted to just take this core, force march it here, and send Artie behind it. The defensive Artie would prevent it from really taking a lot of damage from attacks, regardless of hurt, readiness, and morale, rather than the mobility upgrades I was thinking of. That does sound interesting. It would give us more of a front line here, too. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Vladimir, and then Artie, back up this guy, Vladimir. They're not getting around. This is all just terrible, terrible terrain to move through, and we have tanks in the area, so not really a problem. Some of the armies could move up this way along the front, although some amount, like without mobility, some amount of force marching might be advised for movement like that. So we'll go ahead. Yeah, we're gonna force march this army forward. No one's gonna walk up to it and attack it. They'd be dumb to do so. We're gonna reinforce the 6th Corps here. Going to give elite reinforcements to the 14th Army here. We have tons of corps and whatnot capable of moving forward. The 1st Frontier Corps is just going to normally move up to Penza. Got the 2nd Corps going to be moving up behind that. The 8th Army here can start catching up in that direction, or even from this road if I force march it. I'm just going to give elite reinforcements to the 10th Army for right now. Kind of stagger this advance a little bit, because otherwise we're just moving up so fast that there's not enough supply. We're moving up so fast, all of our units are clumping together when we should be having a wider front. All in all, I will force march this one up here to follow after this northernmost part, because I don't really think Kubyshev is going to be the problem. I definitely don't think Kubyshev is going to be the problem. This HQ von Rundstedt down here, he's not really going to be needed down here, you know? He's kind of just going to be moving up. And maybe Ryazan might be a good place for him as we advance. So yeah, I'm going to move von Rundstedt forward, getting him closer to Ryazan. The force march and the power of mobility of the Africa Corps could end up way over here if I wanted to, or just up here to fill in that mobility role I was talking about earlier. I think I'll opt for that mobility role because I know a lot of things behind here are going to be going elsewhere very, very soon. These fighters definitely don't need to be here, but they don't need to be that far forward either. That's more because of supply. We'll send it just... Oh, man. You know, I should leave something next to Rommel. Just to protect everything in this area for now. Like, yeah, I think I'll do that. So you'll actually just move a teensy touch over to the right, and that should be fine. We do have that other HQ I bought, von Manstein, who is realistically the best fucking general that I have. There's no one with as good of a rating, not even Rommel. So he should probably be out on the front, but we don't really have a lot of operable mobility up there. He just can't get that far right now if I wanted him to, as you can see. But whenever we take damage with the HQs, whenever we took damage, I know we were having problems having everybody kind of count. So we'll just send him maybe about as forward as we can get him. Oh, you know, we can kind of push him up a touch so he can skip past another HQ going towards Perm. Yeah, that seems smart. All right, we're going to skip him up then. And then he can move forward past the next positions so he can be the #1 HQ for Perm because he'll have the best bonuses. You know, Ryazan's a point that's going to need its own garrison as well. And I know we finished 2 more garrisons this turn. We'll operate this one from Hamburg. We'll send that as close to Ryazan as we can get it. Anyway. And we'll go ahead and deploy these 2 garrisons. Just replace the one at Hamburg. Should I bother putting one on Warsaw? Sure, why not? Or Dusseldorf, even. Either way, it's pretty much the same. The Musashi battleship's also done. We might as well deploy that while we're looking at it. You know, I don't think I remembered that this port even existed right here. So we're just going to put that at that port because, well, it fits in. Peeking down, Stalingrad's going to be just a matter of pure, blunt infantry force. So we're going to take the first Yugoslav army and attack first to try to accomplish that. Dealing 1 damage, taking none, I believe gaining XP, and lowering the enemy entrenchment by 1. Unfortunately, we still can't actually deal damage because the enemy entrenchment is just too high. But we can still attack, hoping to lower the enemy entrenchment, which we are successfully doing. The Belgrade Corps will follow up with an attack, dealing 1 damage, taking none. Then we have 2 more corps on either side. Let's start with the 6th Corps. Dealing no damage, but gaining XP, which will increase combat values even without elite reinforcements, just so you know. Dravska Corps will take its chance to attack, dealing 1 damage, taking 1 unfortunately, and getting to the 2nd experience tier, but the reinforcements will negate that. Dravska Corps will retreat for now, probably, to get into a position where they can upgrade and reinforce that stuff. The Bosanska Corps is going to move up from down here to up there, finally kind of joining in on the front. Going to be replaced by the 5th Turkish Corps, taking in its position right there. The first Romanian tanks will fill in the Dravska Corps that retreated. Just going to wait for the prepared attack right now. Stalingrad Corps is going to become progressively easier to hurt every single turn that we go after it. The Hungarian HQ will move on this town properly, hopefully making it more capable of providing supply in the region. Hopefully. I mean, the Romanian Corps is what should probably end up here, realistically. And the Hungarian Corps should probably just follow its troops, realistically. I don't know. We'll move this up. We'll move this up. We're not doing any non-prepared attacks. We'll move the tanks around. And supply-wise, that's not perfect. You know, I'm just going to move this. Leave it up on the road here. It'll provide supply way better to its troops from there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 2 turns exactly for the Romanian HQ to reach this town. Yeah, that would work out perfect. That's probably my plan anyway. We're so far into this campaign that it's just hard to remember things. Hey, look! There's those cruisers running away. What an apt time for a sub to get here, right? Now, it still needs to reinforce fully and get in some upgrades, but these cruisers are completely at my mercy, and they have no supply. Even if I didn't hurt them, they would die here eventually just because they're now surrounded by enemies. The Romanian armies are going to slowly follow along, emphasis on slowly, because they have like no mobility and no supply or anything. But it's fine, because the Yugoslavians are swarming up here. But the Romanians have armies. Elite reinforcements for the 5th Romanian Corps sounds like a plan to me. Everyone else up here has pretty much been moved, except for the Hungarian Corps here. That's going to reinforce back up to full strength. And then it just what is this on? Set mode to intercept instead of auto. Why is it so specific? I don't know. But we have tons of supply here. And it's really just coming from like the places we are. So like I was already planning, I'm pretty sure, we're going to reinforce and recover our Turkish units now that they're out of Iraq. The HQ cannot move very far at once. It's not even on a rail line, so we're going to move it forward as far as it can get right now, with its mobility, by the way, and get it onto the rail line, but it probably won't need a rail line to actually get all the way forward while its troops are upgrading. We're going to move up the fighter groups, so what that will mean is, and this is going to be weird, because it means they have to come off of the towns, but ideally we're going to want to move up the fighter groups, even if they're not immediately attached, like, that's fine. We're gonna move one up here, because, I mean, they're not even seeing any action anyway. So, they're not really in any threat. So, it should be okay. But we're gonna move them up to more operable positions. There's also this Hungarian fighter group that's deployed now that I was just gonna fly over normally, slowly over time. It's 1, 2, rather than operate, because we're in no rush because of all the other fighters here. So, let's go ahead and just slowly move that up. We have enough coverage with these other planes. We don't need to pay for an operation. It's okay if it takes a couple months to get there. As planned, we're going to move this maritime bomber up to this town where it can operate pretty much forever, in hopes to test this idea of just like, what if we have this maritime bomber, we move it here, I guess we could just raid this pretty much infinitely and we wouldn't have to resupply or restock or anything. This is the only plane we could even make, I think, that has this capability, right? No, I guess a medium bomber could do it too, huh? Can an attack bomber do this? No. Wait, this is a fighter. I guess attack bomber could do this too. Or, yeah, and a medium bomber. You know, I've never really even thought about that. I'm just kind of like learning things about planes right now. So for example, something I could have done forever ago is operate a medium bomber up here, and if it had enough range, we just raid this. And that would still free up the maritime bomber to do other things. I'm fine with the maritime bomber doing it right now, because there's really nothing else for the maritime bomber to do. However, more raiding could happen up here with more bombers. So I could still send more. They could each operate out of a town, for example. I could send these 2 medium bombers up there. It'll be interesting to see if this works. Mechanically, as I understand it, this will work. And if it does work, that actually gives me some pretty good ideas for the next time I play the Axis. You can utilize this if you have the range. I mean, what's the range of like a medium bomber, for example, by default? Because these are like the jack of no trades. By default, it's 6. Does the strike range, is the strike range the one that allows you to raid? I think it is. So assuming that is, yeah, 6 by default. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, dude. If you just put the medium bombers up here, you could still have a maritime bomber to fend off a player kind of around this area or anywhere you need it. Very versatile deployment. And then just stick your medium bombers, which aren't going to be as useful on ground, that can still be useful against enemy ships that might come after them, you know? And then like send them up here to deal with this. That's actually a really good idea. I didn't even think about that until right now, near the end of the campaign. It's not too late to send them up here. We could certainly do a lot of raiding. Realistically, I believe that these 2 bombers could probably do more good up here raiding, and this maritime bomber could do more here fending off enemy ships. Except, you know, I started with these medium bombers, so that part was just a no-brainer. But this could have happened, like, the moment this opened up. The AI never did this against me. I've never thought of this, but now I've thought of it. Now I see it. Now I realize how good of a plan that could be. Good, since we're getting ready to start a PvP soon. Travis, just don't watch this video. If I remember correctly, there's a big morale hit when you have planes, raiding lanes as well, instead of subs. Maybe it applies to subs too. What I remember reading in the manual was that it only applied to planes. But that is definitely very good to see. Now we have this fucking mess to deal with. That is, I feel, the best description of this, is a fucking mess. Dude, this super experienced sub just got out here. Took 2 damage, dealt 4. It's down to 7 supply already, just from this crazy shit that's been going on. Let's send this sub up here. Just kind of swapping places. Oh, man. Yeah, just kind of swapping places for now as a way to kind of trick the AI, hopefully, while keeping our raiding going. The U-35 is going to have the simple task of simply moving up here. It's also going to raid the US-UK line. It just got up here. It just got ready for this kind of thing. We can go ahead and upgrade this sub in port. So we're going to go ahead and do that. This Italian sub needs to go somewhere else. It needs to go somewhere else. We're going to send this sub up here to kind of do some more raiding. We might send it one across. Yeah, send it across a little bit. That'll free up that port for the Italian sub, because the Italian sub's just getting beat up being over here. It's too close, and we don't have fighter coverage over here. So, let's reinforce the German sub here, and hopefully that's not in sight. So taking this one out of its dive mode. Oh, yeah, we just immediately run it into something else. Of course we do. We'll set it up here like this. They may still go after it. I don't know. They're like hunting this one into dust. I'm tempted to send these heavy cruisers up. It's been long enough since I've seen the battleships come through that maybe these heavy cruisers could get something done. I've been very cautious with them because, well, for one, what if they just get overwhelmed by an armada of destroyers? That's number one. Number two, we just haven't really... It's never been safe to use them, you know? We've never controlled the sea enough, and I didn't send them around and back again in the beginning or anything. Never stuck to we could have stuck to these ports, you know, to try to get down there safely. That's probably what I should have done. At this point, I'm tempted to just kind of go up there, see if we can find anything to fuck up. And there's only so far I can move in this one turn to pursue these many enemy ships that are just leaving themselves wide open. And so let's do a little... Okay, so we know up to here is clear. We know up to here is clear. We want to raid this line with this ship, so this works out. I'm going to send that there. We'll send the cruisers up. Just off so that they're not participating in the raiding, which will kind of keep them out of sight. But close enough that we can easily, let's say, destroyers come down here for this one, they're going to meet the heavy cruisers, and then we can kind of go crazy with them next turn. See what? It might be a terrible idea. But given that we're so close to winning this, and even if we lost every ship that we have, that's really not going to impact my ability to win or not. Like, I would still win regardless. So, that's what we're going to do. I'll just send the U-32 up here. It's probably pretty safe. Send this one across here to kind of create a little gap in where the enemy believes me to be. Give some elite reinforcements to the U-37 sub right there. We still have other things that are returning from up north. And really just like not enough ports for them over here because we don't have Sweden. Getting Sweden was always something I wanted to do, though. But, you know, every game's a different strategy, so let's go ahead and do this. Get this destroyer back somewhere safe for it. We'll send this one up to Oslo, and it should be nice and safe there. God, I wish I had more ports over here. I really do. But it's fine, we didn't invest very heavily into Navy anyway, nor do I think Germany ever really should. Honestly. Also, at this point, we've just submarine wiped out so many of the British, like, carriers that I don't think we really need this fighter here anymore, you know? They're not going to have air cover over anything coming over here anymore, nor do they ever have anything coming over here. So, I think I'm going to send this plane down. Let's send it just to Antwerp for right now. I might just get it positioned somewhere in here in this mess to provide some air cover separate to the anti-airs we have coming, because I think at this point we can afford it. Also, I think at this point, you know, it might just be smart to just operate these up there and just get everything into a raid mode. The MPPs we spend on the operation would be paid off very, very quickly. We do need to set their raider modes. And if we need something down here, it's fine. We just take the maritime bomber. It would be more useful. Now, operating, they wouldn't be able to do anything in terms of raiding right now, but still, it would come in. Assuming I understand the mechanics correctly, this will be 104 MPPs that we will essentially make back in terms of raiding very quickly. Not to mention, we now have measures in place to defend this line with the motor torpedo boats and other cruisers and our entire fleet, really. That can allow us to defend this pretty easily. Now that the carriers are gone anyway, the air presence here is just really not as needed anymore. I feel like I've learned so much in this episode. So not only are things going well, even if this is a pretty slow movement with Germany, but we're learning things that will be so helpful. And I'm so glad I'm doing this campaign because of that. But that's all we really have time for today, so I hope you guys are enjoying how this campaign is going. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.